everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we are going to be pantry cooking. I'm going to be using up some ingredients that I have around the house and turn it into something that I can feed my family. That way we have little to no food waste, and I can, use things in different ways to still be able to provide and feed my family. I know for sure that I need to make some more bagels. I am eating the last one right now. We have been loving having homemade bagels every single week, and they are delicious. So I will be sharing that today for sure. And that is just me turning my loaf bread recipe into bagels, and they are delicious. So I'm excited to share that with you guys today. We're just gonna kind of go through and decide. We're also gonna figure out something for supper tonight. I'm gonna do a pantry style supper. So just come hang out with me today, see what all we can use up for this pantry challenge. So for the month of February, I have not been buying any bread goods or anything from the grocery store. I have been making everything homemade. And these are all ingredients that I always keep on hand in my pantry. So it's really easy for me just to put them together and make something delicious. So I'm taking my milk and honey loaf bread recipe. I have shared that before. I'll have that video and the recipe linked down below. But we're going to use that recipe, and then we're just going to turn it into bagels. So we'll do the ending process a little bit different compared to just baking a traditional bread. This is going to take about an hour and a half in the bread machine, so I'm going to go ahead and get this started first. While that's going in the bread machine, we're going to make some 2-ingredient heavy cream and flour biscuits. I always keep heavy cream on hand. It is definitely a staple in my house. And being able to make some quick and easy biscuits is one thing, but having them already prepped in your freezer is another. I absolutely love this recipe. I've been making it a ton, and I'm just going to mix them up, and then we're going to cut them out. I'm going to flash freeze them, and then we will have ready to go freezer biscuits whenever we need them. I'm just going to wrap these with Saffron App, put them in my deep freeze, and let them completely harden, get frozen solid, and then we will put them in a Ziploc bag and have them for easy grab-and-go biscuits. I'm back in the fridge again, looking through everything and seeing what I could come up with for some breakfast prep. Luke is getting tired of breakfast sandwiches, so I wanted to change it up, and I thought, I have the eggs, I've got this ham, cheese, veggies, I can make a frittata. For my frittata, I'm going to use eggs, milk, cheese, some cubed ham. I had 2 peppers that needed to be used up, and then I pulled an onion out of the pantry, as well as some dehydrated mushrooms and zucchini. I just chopped up my peppers and onions super fine, and I'm going to go ahead and get that cooking up in a pan with some butter. To my greased casserole dish, I'm going to go ahead and add in my egg mixture, which is just egg, milk, and seasoning. And then I like to put the toppings on top individually, and that way I can kind of take a fork and move it around to make sure everything is well incorporated and spread out evenly. That way I know every bite has protein, cheese, and veggies. I'm adding in my dehydrated foods directly into the egg mixture because there's enough liquid in there that it is going to reconstitute it, and I don't have to worry about doing that separately. I'm just going to bake this at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. You just want to make sure that the egg mixture is cooked all the way through. Here's what it looks like. You guys, this was beautiful. Like, I have never seen the most beautiful frittata ever. The colors, it was beautiful, and the boys loved it. Our dough is ready, so we're going to take and divide it up. This is a single batch, so I take and divide this dough into 4 pieces, and then each piece will be 4 bagels. I just take each piece and kind of shape it around, and then I poke a hole in the center and kind of pull it apart a little bit to make that bagel shape. And I'm just going to continue doing that until I get all of them done. While I'm doing that, I do have my water boiling on the stove. To my boiling water, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of baking soda. Now, the more baking soda you add to your water, the more of that crust you're going to get. Like, for instance, pretzels. If you want a thicker, more pretzel-like texture, then add more baking soda. If you want a little bit lighter crust, then add less. I just drop them in and boil them on each side for about 30 to 40 seconds. And then you can top them however you like. I did a variety here. I did some plain, some cheese, and some with cinnamon sugar and some brown sugar on top. Personally, the cheese ones are a family favorite. Everybody loves them, even my sister-in-law and her family. The cheese ones have become the best ones. On the cheese ones, I do also add minced onion, Italian seasoning, and some garlic powder to the bagel directly, and then I top it with the cheese. I bake these at 325 until they reach the internal temperature of anywhere from 190 to 200. If you want them a little darker, of course you can raise the temp, but this, for me, I've done this a couple times. 325 has been my go-to for these. They always turn out great. So one of my favorite ways to use things up and transform it into something else or extend the shelf life is by dehydrating. And I don't know if you know this, I just recently found out, but dehydrated peppers is paprika. And so I've had these in my pantry along with everything else I've been dehydrating over the months. I absolutely love my dehydrator. I will have that video linked down below. But when you invest in different equipment, kitchen equipment, you can transform certain things, ingredients, and make it into something else. So like for instance, this, I had peppers that I needed to use up and I dehydrated them, and so I can turn this into a powder and make homemade paprika. Also, like my dehydrated spinach, we don't necessarily eat a whole bag of spinach every time I buy it. So I dehydrate it and I can add this into different dishes throughout the week, or I can grind it up as well and make spinach powder and sneak it into different recipes, and nobody knows. Nobody knows because I've done it several times and I've not said nothing, and nobody has said anything. It has like no flavor, but you get the nutrients from the spinach. So I love dehydrating foods and using them in different ways, and that's a really good way that you can not have as much food waste. As if you notice that your produce or other things is going bad, you might not necessarily use them in a dish, but you can dehydrate it and have it for the future. Just like if I hadn't have made that frittata, those peppers would have gone bad and I would have just dehydrated them to have for my shelf versus using them like I did in that frittata. But luckily I needed some breakfast prep, so I used it for that. But it, yes, it is an investment, investing in those, certain pieces of equipment, but it is well worth it in my opinion, because it helps you not have food waste and you can use those foods in different ways. So let's grind up this dehydrated pepper and make our own paprika. I looked through the fridge again. We're doing it for supper this time. We've got some already cooked shredded rotisserie chicken. We got some cheese, cream cheese. I'm gonna use the rest of the pepper and onion blend from the frittata. And then we've got some homemade salsa left over from us eating out one day last week. So this needs to be used up as well. So we're gonna put all of this together and make like crunchy chicken tacos. And I'll probably do some Spanish rice to go with it for tonight. But I have all of this, but I don't have any tortillas. So let's make some homemade tortillas. For the tortillas, I just used a recipe I found on TikTok. I've had it saved for a while because I really wanted to try it. All it is all-purpose flour, baking powder, salt, water, and some butter. I'm gonna add my butter into my water and get that put in the microwave and melt that butter down. Here, I'm just gonna go ahead and add in my flour, salt, and baking powder together. And then once the butter is melted, we will just use our hands and gradually fold everything together and make the dough. Once the dough comes together, we're gonna knead it on a clean surface for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, that was definitely a workout. Put it back in the bowl and cover it with a towel for about 10 to 15 minutes. While that's resting and doing its thing, we're gonna go ahead and mix together the chicken mixture. I've got half a block of cream cheese. I ended up using half of that rotisserie chicken, which honestly, I could have done a fourth of it. We had a bunch left over, but I was also able to freeze it and have it for the future, which is also good. Using things up, no food waste. And then the rest of that chicken, I just popped in the freezer as is to add into casseroles or make chicken salad, whatever the case is. I'm gonna add in the rest of that bag of cheese. I'm gonna add in the rest of that pepper and onion blend, and then the salsa, and I'm just gonna mix that up. I don't have a paddle attachment, I only have the whisk attachment. I used it for a little bit and then I just got in there with a spatula. I just put the chicken mixture in the fridge until it was time for supper. Now it is time to shape the tortillas. It said to just pinch a little bit off, kind of roll it in a ball, but then flatten it out and just sit it. I ended up getting 12 tortillas out of this one recipe. Now we're just going to roll them out. Now for me, this was my first time trying these, and so I definitely should have rolled them out as thin as possible, but that's my bad. Either way, I was super proud of the way they turned out, and that's one of the good things about keeping even like the basic baking staples on hand is that, you know, you can make stuff like this, make your homemade breads, your homemade tortillas to kind of jazz up and, you know, elevate a pantry dish. I've got my griddle nice and hot, and I'm going to go ahead and just add them on as I roll them out. They don't take long at all. Once they start bubbling up, then you know it's time to flip. I'm so proud of myself over those tortillas. I had never made homemade tortillas before. It's a lot of work, but I'm so excited. I think they're gonna be really good with our supper tonight. So I'm kind of at a stopping point. I need to get dishes caught up and go get Winston from school and all that stuff. So I'll see you guys back in a few hours when it is time to put together everything for our delicious supper. It's time to get supper finished up. To go along with our chicken tacos, I decided to do some quick and easy salsa minute rice. I've shared this so many times on my channel. I pulled some minute rice from the pantry, and then we always have salsa in the fridge, so it makes for a quick and easy side dish. I will have the recipe linked down below for you guys. For our tacos, I decided to add some extra cheese in there, and then we're just gonna add that chicken mixture on. And then I've got some oil heating up in that pan. It's barely a little bit, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan, and we're just gonna pan fry these and get them nice and crispy. We have our nice crunchy chicken tacos. I set out the fixins. Salsa, sour cream, cheese was all in the fridge. We have our salsa minute rice. You guys, this was so good. I loved that I had such a successful pantry cooking day and was able to make delicious food plus some freezer stuff for my family. I call this pantry challenge a success. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.